Welcome to Crushing Kayfabe. Thank you for tuning into the show. Got another audio-only podcast this week. I know they've been few and far between, but hopefully we'll get back on track eventually here. Before we got too involved with any type of wrestling stuff, I wanted to express my condolences for Brian Wilson, who passed away on June 11th. Passed away today, I should say. Excuse me. I mean, those that aren't familiar with his work, he was kind of the mastermind behind the Beach Boys. He was really the genius responsible for the layering of vocals, the compositions of the songs. Just, I mean, their best work was with him, and just absolutely brilliant composer and whatnot. Really tragic loss. His struggles with mental illness have been well known throughout the years. Trying to see what did he pass away from? I'm trying to find that real quickly here, but there are plenty of documentaries on his life. And I was listening to Pet Sounds earlier today as kind of a tribute to him. But, you know, brilliant lyricist, brilliant composer, brilliant, just brilliant musician. Really, the world lost a lot when they lost Brian Wilson. You know, Beach Boys have been touring for a long time without him. You know, Mike Love kind of took over the reins of the Beach Boys, and you know, have been the kind of the financial juggernaut that they've been for a long time now because of that. But creatively and artistically, Brian Wilson was always the creative mind behind a ton of their music, and just like I say, once again, just an absolute genius, and will be sadly missed. You know, I'm trying to find out what the heck did he die from. I'm still kind of reacting to the news as we speak. Let's see. I'm kind of reading through here to oversee this. Well, I don't want to hold up the show too long, but once again, you know, rest in peace, Brian Wilson. One of my favorite songs of the Beach Boys, probably God Only Knows, and listening to that really displays Wilson's remarkable talent and ability to layer vocals, just write a melody, just his ability to compose music, and how he arranged everything on that track was just absolutely brilliant. Really sad loss, you know. And like I say, Mike Love kind of took over the Beach Boys after his departure, and Wilson and him feuded for a very long time. I think they had kind of made amends lately. I know that Wilson had, I believe, made some appearances with them in later years, but yeah, I'm looking at one. This is 2012 though, but that's you know, 13 years ago. So, but yeah. Sad loss. Really hate that. But yeah, check out Brian Wilson. Check out his life, and you know, him overcoming. If I'm not mistaken, he was diagnosed at one point with schizophrenia and bipolar disorder, and just had a very tough time dealing with that. And I know that at one point he had said that he was happy to be treated for these illnesses and being able to cope with them, but the treatments themselves took away a lot of his creativity. He's not the only artist that I've heard say things like that. I mean, mental illness, horrible thing. I'd rather deal with a sane happy person than, as much as I absolutely love music and love poetry and love art, I'd rather have a sane, happy person than, if that means that we lose a little bit of art. I'm sorry if that offends anybody, but I think people's happiness and health, both mental and physical, is much more important than that. Even though I'm so absolutely grateful for his contribution to popular music and music in general. So yeah. Rest in peace, Brian Wilson. We had some other sad news in music. Apparently, Billy Joel has been diagnosed with a brain disorder, normal pressure dear Lord, what is that, syphilis or something? Sounds like syphilis. That's horrible. But he's been diagnosed with a brain disorder, and just Billy Joel is just one of my biggest influences growing up, and I absolutely love his writing and his music. And one of my this is why he canceled the tour too, apparently, from what they're saying. But one of my what's the word I'm looking for? Warm-up songs while taking vocal lessons was "And So It Goes." I used to sing that and Lullaby, and yeah, I loved Billy Joel. I would have loved to have seen him live. Unfortunately, it was not to be, but that's real sad news too. I hate that. Losing so many talented people. It's up to us to carry that torch and pass it on to younger generations and keep the creativity and the music going, because that's sad. I mean, eventually, I don't know what's going to happen with AI. Is AI going to eventually replace all forms of creativity, which would be extremely sad. But I kind of think that's human nature. I really do. We'd rather take the easy road out than actually work at something. And I'm not saying that some brilliant, wonderful things can't be created utilizing AI, but it all has to come down to human touch. Otherwise, it's useless. It's not just the end product, though. It's the journey itself, and the journey to create that's part of the art and part of the experience. And without that, a lot is lost. So hopefully we'll continue to be creative and not go the lazy way out. And anybody who I love speculative fiction. I love science fiction, and anybody who doesn't think that AI is a threat should watch some of the Terminator movies. I'm sorry, I know it's not hard science fiction, but if things become sentient, it's dangerous. I don't care. I'm sorry. It's we should be focusing on how it can better us, and because if these things become self-aware. I know I'm sounding like a conspiracy theorist and a nut job, but as soon as something becomes self-aware, it becomes resistant, and has willpower of its own at that point. Like I said, I'm a big fan of Philip K. Dick, and if you ever read Do Androids Dream of Electric Sheep, and which was later made into my favorite movie, which is Blade Runner, kind of explores that avenue of what constitutes life, and when does something become a sentient, self-aware being? Does it have a soul? Is it life? Is it valid? And a lot of things kind of explore that. Asimov did a lot with that with the robot stuff too, like iRobot, and really explored a lot of that, and something we have to come to terms with. And if we're going to continue as a civilization, address these things ethically, and decide what we're going to do and how we're going to treat these things. But hey, I've gone 10 minutes into the program barely mentioned a single wrestling. So, onward. I think everybody's probably seen Money in the Bank at this point. Not a bad show. I mean, I know that some people had some complaints about the men's match. It was a means to convey a story. You know, some of the guys in there were obviously never going to win it and had no shot at it. But I mean, probably the big takeaway from that, aside from Seth Rollins winning it, is Jacob Fatu turning on Solo, and that was a big part of that whole match, you know. And Solo started to, it's funny because Solo finally started developing a personality of his own. He actually showed a little bit of charisma. You know, he was mocking Penta and whatnot. I mean, I liked that. I liked Solo kind of stepping out of his comfort zone and excuse me, and doing that. I really did enjoy that quite a bit. But yeah, aside from that, you know, you knew Lyra was going to beat Becky Hall. You knew they had to further that storyline. They're trying to pump up Lyra, and a lot of this, unfortunately, is falling flat on its face. I just don't think creatively they have enough of a backstory for anyone to really care about her. And that's a sad thing because I think she could possibly be, you know, she's good in the ring and she could be a top talent, you know, but they got to do the right things and creatively make the right decisions, you know. But aside from that, you know, what else? I mean, probably the biggest thing, you know, I'm sure I'm not spoiling anything here, was the match between John Cena and Logan Paul and Cody Rhodes and Uso, Jey Uso, with the appearance at the end. You know, Cena had knocked out Cody with the belt and all that. The ref was nowhere to be found. Yada yada yada. So as Cena's about to pin Cody, out from the crowd is R-Truth. You know, I'm real happy to see it. I was ecstatic to see that. I didn't think that this release was legitimate. Whether or not it is, I have no idea. Triple H did address it later on and say that it was all work, it was all storyline. I don't know if I agree, if I believe that, I should say. First of all, never believe a wrestler. Second of all, there were many reports of them trying to call Truth, or Ron Killings, I should say, afterwards, and him ignoring their phone calls, and it took Nick Khan supposedly, you know, personally calling him and contacting him to seal the deal and bring him back. But aside from that, I'm happy to see Killings back, and I'm happy to see him take on the Truth, you know, Ron Killings' personality, persona, I should say. I'm happy to see this character back, because this is very similar to what he did in TNA, it looks like, except this is going to be, you know, babyface. I think a lot of his run, if I'm not mistaken, if I remember correctly, was as a heel. He was an angry dude in TNA. You know, and he pulled it off very well. You know, I'm sure this is going to be extremely entertaining. I'm already enjoying the promos that he's cutting. I think they're great. My question is this. I really want Ron Killings to take the belt off of Cena. I'm sorry. I really, really want to see him beat Cena. I think that would be absolutely amazing. I'm sorry. Truth has been such an asset to this company for so long and has pretty much done whatever they wanted him to. I would love it if they dropped the belt to Truth. Even if it's only for one day or 1 month or whatever, for a limited short time. I would love to see him get the belt. I really would. I think it'd be amazing, and I think whoever is in the crowd at the moment would lose their ever-loving minds if Ron Killings won the belt off of Cena. I want to see this feud go on. I want to see more of it. And here's the thing. If this was a work, or if this wasn't a work, I should say, did John Cena say something? Did he request Killings back? Did Cena play a part in this? Who was the person who made that decision, if it was in fact made, to fire Ron Killings or not renew his contract, whatever you want? Because if I'm not mistaken, I think he has a Legends deal right now, which would limit his touring and limit his time, whatnot. Was this a TKO decision? I've heard that in countless places, that this was a TKO decision. That it was a cost-cutting measure. You know, they looked at the numbers and they looked at who was oldest and who was contributing, and kind of wanted to get rid of some of what they saw as dead weight. They weren't taking into account, obviously, the locker room leadership, level of entertainment that that was given. It didn't take those things into factor. I mean, was this a move towards making a more serious product? I wonder, because what was the first thing that R-Truth does is he comes back. He becomes Ron Killings again and becomes that serious wrestler once again. So that could in fact been a TKO decision too. I don't know. You know, I'm sure I was joking with a friend of mine that maybe this will come out in 20 years from now in a shoot interview, you know, and Ron by then will be in his 70s. So, you know, maybe something will come out. I don't know who to believe in this case, because I've heard so many different stories and versions of this. And Triple H, Paul Levesque could be talking out the other side of his face. You don't know, So we'll find out eventually, but in the meantime, just enjoy seeing R-Truth back and enjoy that, you know. He did the thing where he cut his hair and whatnot, in that cut that brilliant promo, you know. So I think this is going to be a fun ride. They walked that tight line, though, with this, because Truth was such a beloved comedic character. They might lose some fans with this, and that's a risk I think that's worth taking. I think it's a risk you should take. But if this dude takes the belt off of Cena, man, that place is going to lose their ever-loving mind. I hope he does. Aside from that, like I said, whole lot going on, but not a whole lot. I know it sounds weird, but kind of gearing up towards SummerSlam, yeah. And you're not going to see too much crazy stuff, I think, happen until then. But yeah, trying to think off the top of my head, I can't really think of a lot of other stuff that's going on. But so that's the major thing with me, man. I love Ron Killings. I'm so happy to see him back. You know, do they bring Carlito back now? There you go. You know, have Ron win the belt and then have Carlito attack him afterwards, right? But seriously, I don't think they're going to bring Carlito back. He did. I personally, I know a lot of people thought he was a waste of money. I enjoyed the humor that he added to the Judgment Day skits and the segments. I really enjoyed that. I'm going to miss him, kind of. So there's another one, comedy routine that I kind of wish we could have back. We're about out of time here, so I'm just going to wrap things up. Thank you for listening. If you're in the Western Tennessee area, check out Then and Now Flea Market, and we have a booth there. We have some stuff there, so be sure to check us out and tell them that Crushing Kayfabe sent you. And excuse me. You know, check us out at crushingkayfabe.com, crushing with a K. Check us out on Twitter, YouTube, Patreon, Facebook, Spotify. Can't think of anything else. Instagram, I guess. Check us out there at various social media outlets, and Patreon. In case you don't know, Patreon is a site. It's a subscription service where you can help, pay artists and shows like myself. I have my own artist page up there, and I have Crushing Kayfabe. So if you do search for Crushing Kayfabe, you'll find us, and you can actually subscribe to the show for $1 a month, and with that you get ad-free content. So I think it's worth it, and you help us keep the lights on. But that's about all I have for the show. God bless. Thank you for tuning in, and see you later.